Hello, everyone,
Hello.
And welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast, the best podcast.
Yep.
I don't know, with your amazing hosts, myself, Jackie, and
Sana. Sorry, I know it's been a chaotic summer and our schedule's been very up and down.
yes,
We did take another week off.
we did. We're on summer schedule.
We're on summer schedule. You know, I was out of town again. Sorry. We have no plans anytime soon, so I'll be sitting quietly
Yes,
for a minute.
yes,
And we'll probably be on schedule.
yeah, I think so. Well, we say that now. We're not promising anything.
Yeah.
but yeah.
But you know, and what is it? Distance makes the heart grow
fonder.
fonder. So I'm sure you guys are even more excited to hear from us.
Exactly. You're like, can't wait for it. You know,
Yeah.
you see that
The
alert.
anticipation.
New podcast. And you're like, God, I hope it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
And
We
you're
like
welcome.
to keep
It
people
is.
on their toes. So will we be here this week? Will we be here next? We don't know.
We don't know.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. This is why you should have, shameless plug, the alerts on of when new podcasts are released.
Yeah.
So, you
That
know.
way you will know. And you don't have to refresh Spotify
Exactly.
every
Hit
second.
that subscribe button. So,
Yeah.
But thanks for hanging in there, gang. We appreciate it.
Hopefully I didn't lose one of you. I hope we're not down to 4.
Yeah, I hope we're not down to 4. That's
really
gonna be,
needed
Yeah, we
5.
really needed the 5. 5 made us seem legitimate.
Yeah.
So,
It's not
but
looking good,
anyway,
yeah.
well, we hope you all are having a great summer, though.
Yes.
I know, like Sana said, ours is a little bit kind of chaotic, a little bit. I think it's more her. I mean, I've been here because I don't have a life. But
It is more me.
Sana, where were you, Sana? Why did we miss a week?
I was in New York. And if anybody wants to know what I was doing in New York, I was eating.
Oh,
so
she
if you
was
follow
eating.
me
Ugh.
on Instagram, I posted nothing but food. I think you saw maybe one photo of me.
I saw,
And
I saw two
2
photos
photos of
because they were
me.
family photos.
They were family photos, 2 photos of me. Other than that, for the last 4 or 5 days, it's been food.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I ate a lot.
Your pictures looked amazing.
The food was amazing, and it was great. I worked out. I walked to my workout in the morning. I walked to Legree, got a bagel, egg, and cheese on the way back, showered, hung out in the city. It doesn't get better than that.
No, it doesn't. I love New York.
I love New York.
It's
So
such a fun time. Yeah. When I go to New York, it's the same thing. I will eat as much pizza, pasta, and bagels as I can get.
Yeah.
I always bring back bagels. I always do. I always shove them in my suitcase because New York bagels are the best
funny
bagels.
enough, my mom did bring some back. So my mom came. So I was with
Damn,
my
I should
family.
have told her needed to do that.
I was with my family. I flew back a day before my mom flew back. We were with my brother, my cousins. It was a good time. And her and my aunt did bring them back.
I should have asked her to do that
You
for
should
me.
have.
I'm an idiot.
You are.
That's what I always do whenever my sister comes out. I'm like, bring bagels.
So I've been in New York many times, and I've actually never tried like Joe's Pizza or Prince Street until this time around.
Did you like it?
And I know they're both in LA now.
Yes.
And have you had both?
I've had both in New York.
In New York. Okay,
Yes.
I've never had them in LA, and now I've had them in New York.
I haven't had them in LA.
So I don't know how to compare. But I would love to hear your thoughts on this because I think Prince Street is way better.
I think Prince Street is way better too.
Okay, thank you. Because my mom was like Joe's. I was like, no, I no joke. So I literally we went to Prince Street. I got
Yeah.
the vodka slice, delicious.
Delicious.
I got cheese, and then I was like, I need more. So they're like, do you really want to wait in line? I was like,
Absolutely.
I was like, I need more.
Yeah.
So then I waited in line for another slice. And of course, the rest, everybody but like a few people were like, I want more too. So I ordered more. My mom is just videotaping me like eating this pizza from across the street. And she's like, me like living my best life. And she's like, can you just stop eating? But that Prince Street pizza was so good that I wanted to wait in line again.
No, it's really
Joe's,
good.
I had one slice and I was like, Domino's?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
I don't
offensive.
really remember
but
Joe's, to be honest, but I
it's not
remember
bad.
Prince
It's
Street.
good, but Prince Street I thought was phenomenal.
Because here's the thing. I think that any pizza you get in New York is going to be good.
It's going to be good.
It's
for
going to
sure.
be good. It doesn't matter. Even the 99 cents
It's gonna be
slice
good.
is going to be
I
good.
don't know. Joe's was good,
Yes.
but
I love New York pizza. I think it's like the
Yeah.
superior pizza. I'll take that over anything. And again, whenever I go, I'm like, pizza. Like my sister's always like, what do you want for dinner? I'm like, pizza. And she's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, not again. I'm like, yes. Like,
Yeah.
that's all I want. But no, Prince Street was very, very good. I haven't had them in a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember Prince Street. I don't even really remember Joe's.
I need
be
to
honest.
try the LA one. I want to see if Prince Street compares to the New York one.
I'd like to try the LA because I'm
now
always
it's like fresh in my mind.
Yeah, I'm always kind of skeptical too when a New York establishment comes out to
Yeah.
LA.
Well, don't they
'Cause
say
I'm
it's the
like,
New
did
York
we-
water?
Yeah, they say that's what makes the bagels is the
Yeah.
New York water. Because I still have not found a bagel out here on West Coast
Ooh, there
that
is
challenges
though. There
New
is
York.
though. So in Manhattan Beach. It's called Manhattan Bagels. It's in Redondo or in Manhattan, one of them. And they are the closest to New York bagels that I've ever
Really?
had. And not only that, they're seated on both sides. Heavily seated on both sides.
I always get a plain because that's just me.
There's actually not a bad spot in Irvine either. East Coast Bagels, not bad either. But
should try that.
Manhattan
should try
Bagels,
it.
I don't know if it's in Manhattan Beach or Redondo Beach. It's phenomenal.
I should try it.
For like a California.
Yeah, for a West Coast.
It's pretty comparable.
Yeah, because for me, a New York bagel, there's nothing.
You got to try
a
this
bagel
one.
and schmear, like nothing,
Yeah,
or like a
you
back.
got it.
Oh,
I ate some really good food. I went to
man. I know it's so
like
good.
so good. I mean, and you
So
walk
good.
into anywhere. There
Anywhere.
was like a dosa India food cart in a
saw that.
park. Delicious. We went to this Indian restaurant called Aroka, which is on the Michelin Guide, and that was amazing.
That looked really good.
We went to like this pasta place in Brooklyn called Missy. Amazing. Apparently, it's like one of the top rated pasta places in Brooklyn. Really good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
That's all I do out there. And
I
the
was
thing is,
so puffy.
well, yeah.
I was like, looked like my belly was like I was like a Michelin baby, like because of everything I ate. Even though I was working out,
sticking
I'm
out a
not
little bit.
joking. I was so like inflamed everywhere.
You have a little panza.
Yeah, I'm not joking. I was inflamed everywhere.
You know what? You enjoyed yourself.
I did enjoy myself.
Those are the moments of what life is made of. Is
Yeah.
food and laughter and love. That's truly
Literally
what it
enjoy
is.
myself, and then we come back. I literally
You're back
landed
on it.
I landed Wednesday night. I got home at around close to 8. I had to teach Legree Thursday 6 a.m.
There you go.
Back at it, and then
at the
we're
grind.
recording Friday today.
Yes.
This is earlier than usual.
Yeah.
And I taught this morning, and now I'm here right from the studio. So this is why I'm not as cute as I normally am.
Yeah.
Nobody. And we're recording only because my birthday is on the 17th.
Sana's birthday, national
Yes,
holiday.
national holiday.
Fun fact: Sana's birthday is the calendar emoji.
It is a calendar
on the iPhone.
Yes.
So if you ever need to remember when Sana's birthday is, because I'm pretty sure everyone wants to know that.
Yes.
It is the calendar emoji.
It is the calendar
July
emoji.
17th.
You know,
So-
so you can never forget it. Like,
Never forget.
makes it so much easier for me to date. Like these
Yeah.
guys, it's like if they forget, it's easy.
Yeah, you're like emoji.
They somehow probably will still forget.
Probably.
Yeah, losers.
But we'll be linking Sana's Amazon wish list if you'd like to buy her a
Yes.
birthday present.
And,
no one bought me one, but that's fine. That's okay.
Maybe we'll give you a second shot.
Yeah, we'll give you a chance with Sana.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's kind of just been the kind of randomness that's been happening. I really haven't been up to much. Yeah, I mean, it's really just been work and which has been fine, I guess.
Yeah.
I really do need a vacation. Sana and I were talking about this. If anyone has any recommendations, feel free to send them out.
Something
But
quick.
Something quick. I need something.
Yeah,
because
same.
any time that I've gone, I went to the East Coast back in May and I was gone for like pretty much 3/4 of the month. But that wasn't a vacation. Like
It's so funny you say that because my mom texted me yesterday and Lily was like, "Hey, so what are we doing for your birthday on Monday? Do you want to go to Cabo on Monday and come back Thursday because the city wasn't a vacation?" That's literally what she said. I was like, "No, I can't be gone again."
The city wasn't a vacation. No, my idea of a vacation is, again, I've always said like drunk on a beach somewhere.
Yeah,
But
Anita was
really,
like, I need
it's me in a
something
spa.
from the vacation.
It's me in a jacuzzi. It's
Yeah.
me by a pool. It's, living my best life, taking a nap in the sun. Like that's a vacation for me. Not that I don't love going to these coasts because I get to
I
see
do too.
friends
It's
and
just
family.
different.
I love it. I love going to New York. I love being in DC. Yeah, it's different. I'm always like, maybe I'll move here. And, I always have
Yeah.
those delusions.
Same.
Because
Literally
I'm
same.
on the Upper West Side and I'm like, maybe. And I'm
then
like, dummy, you wouldn't live here.
And then I find out that the rent, you can't even find a one bedroom for $4,000 in the city.
Yeah.
You
And
can't
you're
even
like,
find
well,
let
never
me
mind
repeat
then.
that. A 1 bedroom cannot be found for $4,000 in the city.
Yeah, it's rough out there.
Yeah.
It is rough. I wouldn't mind moving, but anyway. But yeah, so I need a vacation. I haven't really had anything for a while, probably not since Jackson Hole in January, which was again very quick trip. But I need something.
Yeah.
But yeah, really haven't been up to much. I know you'll hate this. So Sana's eyes will roll. But I did see the pilot
What?
a couple of times. He was out here.
Okay, I just want you guys to know that I'm not even faking this right now. I had no idea that this even happened. I had no what? I didn't
Yeah.
She really does just leave some things for the podcast. Wow.
I do.
Wow.
But it was actually
Everybody, please attack her. What is this?
no, but it was actually very nice. We again, it's helpful for me because I need to learn how to function.
I mean, seeing someone we don't like, I don't understand how it's helpful.
We don't like.
How is that helpful?
No, it's helpful because because it'll kind of
This is big.
It'll kind of tie into the topic today, which is like boundaries versus controlling. And no, it's helpful because as we know, so if anyone, all 5 of you have been listening to the podcast since the beginning, I've expressed my
They're gonna think you're dumb.
Situation with the pilot and.
They are.
And, that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But no, it's obviously I've had to work through this and I've had to work through pulling myself out of that orbit of hope, understanding and recognizing that I am not good for him. He is not good for me. We can be friends, but that is it. I've romanticized it as I've romanticized a lot of things about a lot of men. And I can learn how to be friends with him and I can learn how to function in a space and in a shared physical space with him and not have these moments of me trying to make it out to be something more or let me try to earn or let me try to prove why I am a good catch. It's like, no, I am. We're just not the right people for each other. So it was actually very healthy for me.
I mean, let me track for a second. You said that it was healthy for you. I would think that one time seeing him would be healthy. You said a couple.
Yeah, we saw each other twice.
Why do we need 2 times?
Because he was at, I haven't seen him in a while, which has been good. It's been good that we have not seen each other. But he happened to be out here and we both had an opportunity to grab dinner.
We didn't say 2 opportunities, a opportunity. We need 1 opportunity for closure. Why do we need 2 opportunities?
It's not necessary. I've already done this closure within myself with the romantic portion of it. We are friends and I enjoy seeing my friends. I enjoy hanging out with them. I enjoy talking and sharing time with them.
Yeah.
He also is very kind and I don't ever pay for anything when we are hanging out. And
That's literally the least he could do.
I mean, it's true.
The emotional
it's
trauma,
true.
that's literally the least he could
do. But it's also the emotional trauma that I put myself through. Because, like I said, this kind of ties into what we're talking about today, which is the boundaries versus controlling, or what are boundaries and what does that exactly mean? But yeah, I saved that for the podcast for you. I wasn't going to tell you.
I mean, she talks to me all the time, and not once did she say, "Hey, I'm going to dinner with going
to dinner with the pilot."
She's fake. It wasn't even on the outline.
No, but that's been my last recap. But like I said, it kind of ties into this, just because if everyone, I think it's been kind of viral, and everyone's kind of seen it pop up on their feed about Jonah Hill. Mm-hmm. He has recently been under some scrutiny because his ex, a professional surfer, Sarah Brady, leaked some text messages that they exchanged, and she's labeled him a narcissist and misogynistic because the text messages were basically talking about how he didn't want her to, I guess, behave a certain way. Mm-hmm. And that it was
post a certain way.
Yes, post a certain way, do certain things. So I will say, to start it off, that if you haven't read them, go read them. You can find them anywhere. Basically, to kind of recap it, he's basically saying like, if you need surfing with men, boundaryless, inappropriate friendships with men, to model, to post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit, to post sexual pictures, friendships with women who are in unstable places. That's a big one for men. I don't like you party. I don't like you going out.
That is a big one with men. That is a big one.
I think a lot of them are like, I don't like you hanging out with that girl because she's wild.
Or that girl. It's like, why do you assume that I don't have control and I'm just going to go.
Right. Or I
think she's a hoe. Or I think she's a.
Yeah. Very interesting. And from your wild recent past, beyond getting a lunch or coffee or something respectful, I'm not the right partner for you. If these things bring you to a place of happiness, I support it. And there will be no hard feelings. And he goes on, there's other text messages that she released about how he's saying, posting your ass in a thong or whatever. Also, she's a professional surfer.
Yeah, she's going to be in a bathing suit.
She's going to be in a bathing suit. And
I'm sure she has brand deals, so...
Yeah, I'm sure there's brand deals and things that she has to... product that she has to wear.
And also, we just learned from Caesar
our
that
producer.
the way her and Jonah met is because he slid into her DMs after viewing said pictures.
Looking at her feed and being like, hey.
That's so... Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. The math is not mathing.
I mean, you already saw what you were going to get.
Yes. Which I think in one text message she even says, like, you knew this about me. And you should have, that's the thing. She says, well, maybe you should have asked me more about what I do for work before you decided to date me then. A little late now. And which is very, very true.
Yeah.
I will say that I think that he's getting a little bit too much heat for it. I think that he just misspoke versus, I don't think from my perspective, I do not believe that he's a misogynistic, narcissistic
I agree with
asshole.
I agree with you on that.
Was he trying to, again...
He was using boundaries to control.
Yes. So that's kind of the whole, I started thinking about that, and I had read a very interesting post from a dating coach or a relationship coach, Rebecca Orr, and she was kind of breaking it down of like, what is a boundary and what it isn't. And that's kind of been the whole thing, is that he used therapy speak, boundaries, and not in the correct way. And a lot of therapists are agreeing. It's not just one. A lot are saying, you saying that you don't want someone to do something, that's not a boundary.
Yeah, a lot have come on and made videos about it.
Yes, they've kind of
like
broken it down.
Yeah.
Yes. So basically, what is a boundary? Because I don't know about you, but I've been learning a lot.
Through TikTok.
Through therapy.
Yeah.
About boundaries and what they actually are, how they show up in my life, and how I actually need to put in healthy boundaries versus controlling somebody's behavior.
I think those get blurred a lot.
They get blurred a lot.
And people misuse boundaries, but it's control.
Yes. And so I like how she says, Rebecca Orr, she says, boundaries are not supposed to be used to control your partner's behavior, or in any relationship, honestly, a parent, a friend, whoever. Boundaries are for yourself. They're decisions you have made for how you will respond when a certain behavior happens. So, for example, if you yell at me, I'll leave the room. If you are late, I won't wait longer than 20 minutes, and then we'll have to rearrange. If you've been drinking, I won't get in your car. They're actions we take to look after our own well-being, which I really like what she said about that.
It's so true.
It is. And I've had one of the main ways that I've had a really hard time with this is in dating. And it's showing up now again in my life with adult child parent relationships, specifically with my dad. But a big one has been men. And this is kind of where I say Christian kind of comes in, because there was a lot of actions and a lot of behaviors that he did in the past that I was trying to, I remember the way that I communicated was not, hey, I don't appreciate that. And I don't like to be, I don't like to be friends with someone or connect to someone who operates that way or who treats me that way. So I'm going to remove myself from this situation. It wasn't that. It was me. And you know this. I mean, how many times would I be like, I'm constructing this text message. Like, what do you think of this? It was me saying, you need to change your behavior because it makes me feel this way. And we're not saying that that behavior is okay. Like, I think you've experienced this in dating as well. Like, we're not saying that your behavior is okay, but it's not about trying to change them.
Yeah. And you can't say that that's my boundary.
Yes. You can't say your shitty behavior, that's a boundary.
Because it happens all the time. It's misused.
Yes. And I, like, a big one for me is ghosting.
Yeah, we know. The pod knows.
The pod knows.
Or should know.
Yeah, you all know. I think something you should all know about Sana and I, we both share this, is we have a very low tolerance for injustice.
Gets us in a lot of trouble.
It gets us into a lot of trouble.
Probably. I'm like way too outspoken, and then sometimes it makes me look bad because I'm so outspoken about my opinion.
Yeah.
And then everybody might be thinking about the same thing, but they just stay quiet.
Yeah. And then you're the one that's like, what?
Well, I'm the aggressive one, the asshole.
Yeah. You're the pot stirrer. You're the one
Yeah.
who always has to say something, which that's actually recently something that happened in my family. And my therapist was like, well, you were the one who's in the wrong. And I was like, what? Like,
I'm going to have to fire you.
I'm not paying you
Yeah.
I'm paying you to be on my side.
I'm not paying you for this session.
Yeah.
This is a waste of my time.
Yeah, this is a waste of my time. She was actually very right, which we might get into. But we have a very low tolerance, so we always feel the need to call out behavior because that behavior is not okay. And like my therapist told me, because I called out behavior, my therapist told me, I am not questioning your motive, and I'm not questioning your intent. But you calling out behavior and saying like, you don't get to do that, or you shouldn't do that, or whatever, that's not helping.
Yeah.
And you're not in control of that. That has nothing to do with you. She told me, like, if you didn't like the way that situation was going, then you should have left. You should have excused yourself.
Yeah, that's the boundary.
That's the boundary, is I am not going to participate. So with Jonah Hill's text messages, no, you posting pictures and that person's behavior is not a boundary. What he should have said was, I really don't care, for that type of behavior. That's not really something that I like to be a part of, or I don't really, like to my partner to operate that way, or it makes me feel a certain way. So I'm just going to remove myself from the situation. He shouldn't have been asking her, telling her, don't do this. Don't do this while you're with me. I don't like you doing this. You need to stop doing this because I don't like it. And I don't like the way that it makes me feel. And that's probably a whole nother topic of even calling out the behavior. Like how we said, like, I don't like you hanging out with her. She's wild. She's promiscuous. She's a hoe or whatever. That's a whole nother topic.
It is.
But it should have been that I'm going to remove myself.
Yeah. It's a big difference.
There's a very big difference.
Yeah,
And
we're not saying you can't feel it.
absolutely. That's something that my therapist even said. She was like, I'm not saying that, the behavior you called out was okay. And that's another thing I think I'm trying to learn too is I don't always have to say something.
Okay, you and I both, all right? I have to have the last word. I have
do
to
too. I always have to.
Even when I say I'm going to stay quiet, I'm like, you know what? Matter of fact.
You know what? I'm glad you brought this up because I've been wanting to talk about this for hot. Like,
yeah,
that's me. And what I'm learning is no, you don't always have to say something. You don't always have to insert myself. That's a different topic, but I don't have to always say something. And again, what's truly functioning in your boundaries. And I'm dealing with that, with men, and that's why it was healthy for me to be around the pilot. And even with us even planning a time to meet up, that has always been an issue. I have always been like, oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And he's like, oh, well, no. And then he would break plans at the last minute. And rather than me saying, I don't appreciate being treated that way, I'm going to go ahead and take a step back. I'm going to remove myself. I would always call out his behavior and say, that's not okay. And you're right, it's not okay. But that's not the issue. You can behave however you want to behave. I don't have to participate in that.
Yep.
And people, I feel like we, not just people, I mean myself, I feel like we all get this we get this misconstrued.
Yeah.
Same with like when people, again, like they use toxic, they use narcissists, like how she was calling him a narcissist. And it's like, I don't think that means what you think it means, like stop using,
it doesn't fit.
Yeah. Like stop using therapy speak, like when you really don't understand or know what that is. And then, another way that I feel like I'm dealing with boundaries is the adult child parent relationship. And I don't know if you've experienced this at all. But I'm kind of in this weird spot of, I don't know, having to function with my dad and him understanding that like I'm an adult. I don't need to be parented anymore.
I can kind of get that a bit. I mean, a little bit different, but even when I was in New York, I was meeting up with some friends and I told you this.
Yeah.
My mom was like, you can't get in an Uber by yourself. I'm like, she like made it such a big deal. I mean, I went, but she made it such a big deal about like me getting into an Uber by myself. And I'm like, it's
Yeah. Like,
I'm adult. Yeah.
yeah, I'm an adult. I don't need to be parented anymore. And I think that that's something that's very difficult for parents to understand, is that I'll always be your child, but I'm not a kid anymore. I don't need to be parented. I don't need to, and it doesn't mean that you can't say anything,
Yeah.
but it's one of those things that you kind of just have to respect any boundaries that I'm putting out. And that's something that I'm trying to learn, because a lot of my journey has been, how do I get my dad to understand? How do I get him to change his behavior, how he functions with me? And I think this is why this whole thing resonated with me so much, and the whole topic of boundaries is because I think, and this is also something that my therapist has been trying to drive home, is it's not about him. It's not about his behavior. You cannot control that, nor should you. He's an adult. He can do whatever he wants. But if something is not helping you, or you feel a certain way, then you remove yourself. You don't ask him to change. And I think that's what I've done all my life.
I think we all do that with everybody asked to change partners or whatever.
Yeah. And again, I think there's appropriate times to
I was going to say there are appropriate times. This is not across the board.
Yeah. This is not saying like, oh, you said that to me? Goodbye.
Yeah.
Like,
you left your socks on the floor.
Yeah. You left your socks on the floor.
My boundaries.
You know what? I don't like that type of behavior. Yeah. That's rude. I'm leaving. No. You know what? I'm gone. Like, which I kind of wonder. Their socks are on the floor. You didn't close the kitchen cabinet. You know what? I'm done.
It's my boundary.
Yeah, it's my boundary. That's really rude, and I don't appreciate that, and I'm taking myself out of the equation.
I'm not going to ask you to change, but I'm out. Yeah. I'm not going to ask you to pick it up.
Yeah. But I kind of wonder if this is something that why the divorce rate is so high. Because people don't understand that it's not about you controlling your partner's behaviors. It's about you and your well-being.
Yeah.
And taking action to preserve your well-being. Because I do feel like people get into situations like the socks, the kitchen cabinets, like stuff like that. And they're just like, you know what? I can't, like, I don't accept that type of behavior. I'm leaving. And it's like,
yeah, I mean, be logical with what we're saying.
Yes.
I mean, it's not across the board. There's going to be little things where you're like, no, you need to pick up your socks. You need to change.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, hey, can you...
You can't expect when you met somebody on social media that was posting a certain way, that's how you met them. You can't suddenly decide to date them and say, hey, but now it's my boundary that you can't act like this. Yes. Even though you acted like this when I met you, but because of my boundary, quote unquote boundary, you can no longer act like this.
Right. Or the only way that I'm going to stay here is if you change.
Yeah. Or that.
Like, no. That's, if this is who they are, especially if this is who they are, which, again, I'm recognizing with my dad. This is who he is. And I can't change that, and I can't control that. And nor should I. And that doesn't fall on me. But the same thing in this situation, that was who she was. Like how she even said, then you should have done more research before you started dating me. Mm-hmm. You know, you can't come now and say, I want you to change. I want you to not.
That's the big, you cannot, that's like a whole different topic, but you cannot change people. Like the way you get them in those types of ways.
Yes.
It is what it is.
Yeah. And I like how Rebecca Orr, this relationship coach, says, trying to control the way someone else shows up is always an attempt to control our own emotional experience. That one hit me.
That makes a lot of sense.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit, that's very, very true. Because again, that's what I've been dealing with is I'm trying to control my emotional experience with men. I'm trying to control my emotional experience with the pilot. I'm trying to control my emotional experience with, my dad. And I remember my therapist saying one time, like, you're never not going to be triggered. There's never going to be a situation where everything is just hunky-dory and everyone knows how to behave to make you feel comfortable. And I think that's the thing, too, is our behavior shouldn't be about, like, I'm trying to make you feel comfortable. Like, we can't view it from that lens. It's, they are who they are. Mm-hmm. it's kind of like with our friends.
Yeah.
I feel like we pick people because it's like, oh, we're very similar. We have a lot in common.
Yeah, totally.
We function the same way. We treat each other the same way. And when we get to places where that's not happening anymore, then we say, hey, I'm over this. I'm not going to be friends with you anymore.
We reevaluate.
Yeah.
And then we drop them.
Yeah. But with romantic relationships, it's like, you need to change in order for me to feel comfortable and to feel good. And I think, again, the sentiment is like, I understand what you're saying, but that's not a boundary.
Yeah, I totally. It's like, I understand you don't want her. Well, with him, I understand I don't, because it's like, it would be different if she became like this, but you met her like this.
Yeah. And exactly, like she already started this way. That's how, and again, how you met her, and she's a surfer. She's a professional surfer. There's going to be pictures of her in bathing suits.
It's not like you started dating and then she started posting the thong pics.
Yeah.
Then it's like, all right, I will give you something there. But if she was already posting them before you dated.
Right. Or even if she did, maybe that's her job. And I don't know a lot about surfing.
No, I know, and I agree. Maybe it's job, but I could understand him not being comfortable at that point because...
Yeah, maybe he was like, oh, I didn't know that this was something you were comfortable with sharing, and I'm not comfortable being with someone who's comfortable with this. So
then I would understand that. But if it's already all out there, and now he's like, well, I want you to be this wholesome, like, nun.
Yeah. But also, even if he did want that, you don't get to control that. That's not
a boundary.
Again, this... Rebecca Orr says, you can't just label your personal preferences for how someone should act as boundaries and then think that gives you the do it my way trump card. Mm-hmm. And that's a big one. And so going back to that example, yeah, even if she started to, 100%, you could be like, wait, whoa, who? Like, I wasn't aware that you were okay with this. But the conversation should still not be, I need you to change. It should be, I'm not comfortable with that. I don't really care to have a partner who posts things like that or who's okay with acting that way. So I'm going to remove myself. I don't think we're the right fit.
Yeah.
And that's simply it. You can do whatever you want. And he kind of says that. That's why I feel like he wasn't expressing himself correctly. And again, misusing the word boundaries.
Well, he miscorrect because he said, if you're not going to do this, then I'm out. Mm-hmm. Not just like, hey, I don't agree with this. I'm going to step back. His was like, only if you do this, I'm going to stay.
Right. Well, and he did say, like, if that's what you want to do and it brings you happiness, like, no harm, no foul. Like, that's cool. Yeah. Go ahead. Do it. But it's also, the underlying tone was, but if you want me to stay, then you need to change and you need to stop doing this. Yeah. Which it's like, right, that's not the correct way to handle it. And that's actually something, like I said before, what I'm learning too is just with men and with dating, and not that I've been on any of the apps lately because I cannot do that right now. But
same sister, same.
But with my dad,
bunch of disappointment
out there. But just even same with my dad, it's I can't ask you to. You need to make sure that I'm always comfortable. I would hope that. And I think that's what's hard, especially in any sort of relationship, is you hope that person would want to make you feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. You would hope that person would never want to make you feel a certain way. But it doesn't mean that it's not ever going to happen. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what my therapist was telling me about the situation that had recently happened between me and my family, is you should have then just removed yourself. Like, you need to learn how to emotionally remove yourself or physically remove yourself. You can't just start calling out behavior and like, I don't like this behavior. You need to stop because I don't like this. And it actually also tied with projection, mm-hmm. which that's what a lot of these therapists are saying, that it's actually a projection of him and his insecurities, and him being like, I don't like your behavior because it makes me feel insecure because I'm not secure in the relationship, or maybe there's more of an underlying issue of maybe she doesn't, I don't know, maybe she doesn't provide that security or whatever. Like, there's not that shared, security and their relationship and how they function together. But yeah, it also gets tied with projection, which again, I'm learning.
We're all learning. And
yeah, even with men too. Like with the pilot, for example, I was trying to control the behavior because it made me feel very, it almost, how do I say this? It almost reinforced the idea that I wasn't worth time, energy, effort.
I totally know that feeling.
You know?
I used to do the same thing.
Yeah. And it reinforces that. And so you're just like, okay, well, I'm going to try to
hold on to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is a natural reaction. If something's making you feel icky, you're like, stop.
Yeah.
It's like if someone's hitting you and you're like, stop. It's not about like, oh, I need to run away. That's not your first instinct. Your first instinct is I'm not to run away. Your first instinct is to tell that person, stop. Stop touching me. Stop hitting me. You change your behavior. Stop. Which, again, that's innate in us. Mm-hmm. But emotionally speaking, outside of like, someone hitting you.
Yeah.
Emotionally speaking, mentally, you truly do have to remove yourself. You have to be the one to say, okay, I'm not going to participate, or I'm leaving, or I have to hold my tongue. I'm not going to participate in this conversation because,
because I'm setting a boundary.
Because I'm setting a boundary and I'm not going to be a part of this. Yeah. But it was just, it was just a very interesting conversation. And I'm actually really happy that something like this happened.
Yeah.
Because again,
a lot of clarification.
And a lot of when we all use therapy speak and we're not using it in the right way. And also just that lack of understanding of what a true boundary is. But it's a hard concept to understand. It's a hard concept to, I don't know, function in. Like, I don't know if you've had really, like, I feel like dating has probably been the most for you.
Yeah.
And just learning different, I guess, how to handle different behaviors.
I think, I think before the old me was a lot about you need to change.
Yeah.
My ex would say that all the time, that I was you need to change. Versus I think I've learned to just be like, well, no, let me just step away. If this is something that is not working for me, then we walk away versus being like, well, you should be doing it. Or just like not biting my tongue or whatever, you know?
Yeah, participating in the argument always. And I do think that it's reasonable to, I probably should ask my therapist about this. I do feel that it's reasonable to express your feelings and say, hey,
I'm not happy about this.
This is making me, when you speak to me that way, it makes me feel insignificant, or it makes me feel, worthless, or it makes me feel hurt, and it hurts my feelings and it makes me sad. So I would ask that you not speak to me that way. And I think that if they can't respect that, then that's when what's your boundary? And then I have to remove myself. Mm-hmm. It's just like how we said, like if someone's leaving a sock on the floor, like in a marriage or whatever relationship, you're not like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like that's boundary.
One sock too many.
That's one sock too many. So I think it is okay to express, I do not like this, because that makes me feel.
Not we're not saying to not be able to express and the immediate reaction to be like, I'm out.
Yes.
That is my boundary. Everybody's going to be out and about, be like, boundary, I'm out.
Boundary, I'm out.
Boundary.
Yeah, that crossed my boundary. I'm done. I'm over this. No.
It's more about you can't use the term as a way to control.
Yes.
Because that's what happens a lot is people use the term, well, that's my boundary, when we want to control somebody.
Yes.
Whether you realize you're doing it or not.
Yes.
But that is what's happening.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If it's a behavior that you don't agree with, then don't connect yourself to that person. It's plain and simple. Mm-hmm. Or if it happens or it changes within that's something that I'm learning, like with my therapist gave me some really kind of good practical advice in dealing with my dad. And it was, he may feel the need, or he may feel okay to express certain things to me. And I can simply say, I don't care to have this discussion with you. I don't care to discuss this particular topic with you. Please respect that. Mm-hmm. And if he can't respect that, that's when I can say, I'm going to remove myself.
Yeah.
And it's very hard for me. So I don't feel like I was really taught boundaries as a kid. Mm-hmm. I was taught like to listen, and maybe that was a boundary. I don't know. Write it down for topics for therapy. But I also was kind of taught that there wasn't boundaries, that you shared everything, and that if you didn't share something, it was you being deceitful.
Yes, but that is what you're told as kids.
Yeah.
That I need to know everything.
Yeah. And I understand that in
From a parent's perspective.
Yeah, from a parent's perspective. And I understand that in some cases you want to make sure that your kid feels that you can share things, and you can, you can tell me
Not
things,
be afraid.
not be afraid. Or if someone's doing something to them, like God forbid, but you don't want them to be like, oh, I have to keep a secret, or secrets are okay. But there's also a very fine line between then also just your children not understanding that it's okay to say, I don't want to discuss this with you. Or I don't. Maybe as I get older,
As they get older, not 5 years
not
old.
5 or 6 years old. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't want to discuss this with you. Like, you little shit. No, but maybe as they get older, 14, 15, 16, they start building that kind of autonomy and understanding that it's okay, and learning that boundaries are fine. And I think that's when we probably are the most confused about boundaries. As a kid, you're like, I don't want to talk about this. And it's like, no, that's, we have to, or, this
Certain
concerns
things.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
certain things. Or there might be things that's like, no, you do have the autonomy to keep that to yourself. And it's not deceitful. And I think that's the problem with me, is why I actually do have a very hard time with boundaries, is it was never kind of, that was never
Well,
explained.
you don't want boundaries in the way of control.
Yes. And that was kind of the way it was twisted with me, was like, oh, this is a boundary, but really it was about controlling my behavior. And not that I was really like doing anything super, super bad or anything like that, but I never understood truly the difference. And
I really didn't either until we broke it down and like was researching it, because I was like, oh my God, it is such a fine line of difference.
it is. It really is. And it's hard, especially in dating. And I know I keep coming back to it, but I'm starting to think about everything.
Yeah.
About everything of like ghosting, right? Because I find that such an injustice. And I'm just like, how dare you, and blah, blah, blah. And I want to change that person's behavior.
Yeah.
Also, not even changing, but I also want them to understand how
Yeah.
your behavior is affecting me. And how she said, you're trying to control your emotional environment. And it's like, you don't, that's not,
Yeah.
that shouldn't be
well,
your
I mean,
place.
I have a good example, would probably make me look bad, but
Growth.
growth with my ex when we first started dating. He, not on my account, but on his own. He wanted to go veg. Well, I was vegan at the time. He wanted to go vegan or veg, one of them. And obviously, it was a way to,
Obviously, yeah, connect with you and
connect
get,
with me, whatever. So he did that, and he lasted for like a year.
Right.
But then for me, when he wanted to start eating meat again, it was like, well, I felt like I was played. I was like, you came to me as, oh, I like about this vegetarian life and all this stuff, and now you want to eat meat. And it was like that, where I was like, well, almost in a way of control, like you in a boundary, in a way where it's like, well, this is not how we started dating, and now you're changing it up on me. This is not what I thought I was getting.
Right.
And my boundary was like how dare you?
I shouldn't need to hold that. My boundary
Yeah.
is how dare you.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It was just
Yeah.
like, no, like, and I used that like as an excuse, not excuse, but like as a way of control. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he still ate it, but like, I don't feel like I'm explaining it properly, but you get what I mean.
No, I get what you're saying, but because it's like, well, and to really break it down,
Yeah.
we're really going to call you out, is I don't like that.
Yeah.
I feel bamboozled.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a bait and switch.
A bait and switch.
That makes me feel icky.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that your behavior is making me feel this way. You need to change your behavior.
Yeah.
Which I think at its core is not wrong, but as an adult,
But there are some control aspects.
Exactly.
Like versus it's like, well, it's your life. You do what you want.
exactly. Or saying, I wanted a partner who was a vegetarian or vegan who lived the same lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because if this should go the distance, that's how I would like to raise my kids. And I would like to have a vegan or vegetarian home.
Yeah.
So, and for that reason, I'm out.
Yeah, for that reason, I'm out.
And so if this is, this might be a conflict for me. I don't know if I can really function with someone who isn't. So I might have to take a step back, or I might have to kind of reevaluate. That would have been a boundary. But you were saying, I don't like this. change.
Yeah. No, that was it.
That's not a boundary, that's control.
Future men that want to date me, like, okay, like, this is not an issue now. Like, it was a total different thing because he came to me that way, you know?
Right.
He came with me as me. I knew what I was getting.
Yes. But also even maybe communicating that.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, you know, why the switch up?
Yeah.
You know, and...
Which I think that personal growth, too, is a big thing, taking people at what they are.
Yes.
And you can't expect to put... That's something I've learned a lot over the years is the way I want to live my life, I can't expect someone else to live their life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was actually something I had done the Myers-Briggs personality quiz. I have a very rare personality type.
You do.
I do. But the shitty part about that is I remember it said one of my biggest kind of blind spots is people will not treat me the way that I treat them because I'm very much an empath. I'm very feeling. I am very sensitive. And it's not because they don't like me. It's not because they're doing it to be mean. That's just not how they function.
Yeah.
It just isn't. And I have to understand that. And that's very, 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 very hard for me. Very hard.
Yeah.
Because I take that as like, why don't you like me? Like, you don't love me, then you don't care about me. When it's like, no, I just don't function that way.
But I'm the same way when it came to health and fitness too. Like, he would eat so much sugar and all that. And I'd be like, stop eating sugar, stop doing all these things. And it's like, at the end of the day, and to me, it was like, well, why don't you want to be healthy for me? You know what I mean?
But that's controlling. Like, yeah, why don't you want to be healthy for me?
But I've literally grown so much in this over time where I'm like, no, you do what's right for you. I'm not here to change anybody, and I'm going to do what's right for me. But I don't want you telling me either.
Yeah.
Right? It's both of us do our own thing.
True. Exactly.
I struggled with that for a while where it's like, you need to be the way I live my life in terms of like health and like all those things, not fitness, not everything else, but especially in that realm.
Yes, because it is important to you and it's very much a part of your lifestyle. But yeah, that's something that I struggle with is, why wouldn't you want to create a nice environment for me that I could, and it's going to benefit both of us.
Yeah. You're going to live long. We're all going to live long. We're going to be healthy. We won't need a wheelchair.
Yeah. And that's something that I'm learning and I do struggle with, because again, I'm a very feeling person, I'm a very sensitive person, very much a deep empath. And so it's hard for me of like, why would you want to make me feel this way? Yeah. Like, how could you do this to me? Question mark.
How would you how are you going to make me have to take care of you?
Yes. Yeah. Or just like, why would you do that? You see, I think that's a big thing for me is you see that this hurts me. You see that this makes me upset. You see that this makes me cry. Why are you okay with that?
Yeah.
And the question shouldn't be is why are they okay with that? The question is then how do I protect my well-being? Mm-hmm. That's really the question is if I don't like the way that makes me feel, I don't like to cry, I don't like to be made to feel that way, then how do I protect myself? And I've never thought about it that way.
Neither.
I think which I think is normal. I don't think we're not taught to think about, because it's also it almost seems like a very selfish perspective when in reality it's a very healthy perspective. What's actually selfish is being like, I don't like the way you make me feel, so you need to change.
Yeah.
It's not it. And I'm just recognizing a lot that I really need to start focusing on my own boundaries versus everyone else. I need to start building my fences and really, truly understanding what my boundaries are and how to function within my own setup versus trying to control everything else. I feel like in a way I need to stop trying to put out every fire that's out there, and I need to figure out how to make sure that fire doesn't get into my yard.
Same.
Because here I am, I'm like putting out this and I'm running over here and I'm running over here. And then my house is starting to catch on fire. And I'm like, damn it, it's your fault. Like, how dare you?
Yeah, that's so true. That's a perfect analogy.
Like, you made my house catch on fire.
Yeah.
And they're just like, I didn't do that. It's like, yes, you did. When in reality, I was responsible for my house.
Yeah.
They are responsible for theirs. But yet I take it upon myself to sit there and be like, I'm on
human
my way.
flaw.
Yeah.
We all do.
All flawed. All on a journey. All God's children. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know. It was a very interesting topic. I think we could probably go so many different directions because, like I said, I think it ties to projection. It ties to the romantic, the selfish, feelings, and okay, what is a boundary? What really isn't? How do you communicate then? How do you even communicate your boundaries and all that stuff? But I don't know. I thought it was
It is interesting.
It is interesting, and I know that it's something I'm personally dealing with, which is I think why it struck such a chord with me. But
Definitely.
But anyway, I don't know. I hope you all learn something and start kind of doing that introspection and looking at your own boundaries. How to protect your own house from catching on fire.
Yes,
stop putting out everyone else's.
That's the title.
And stop saying like your house is on fire. That's going to make my house catch on fire.
Yeah.
It's like not necessarily. What are you doing to protect your own? So.
Couldn't have said it better.
Hopefully we all learned a thing or two.
I definitely did.
Keep listening, keep growing.
Yeah. We'll see you.
But we'll see you all
in a week.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed the sauna doesn't go somewhere.
I'm not going anywhere.
All right. Well, take care, gang.
Yes.
And,
have a great week. Don't forget to send me some gifts.
Yes.
It'll already be past my birthday by the time this episode releases, but I take late.
Absolutely. We will always take, it's the month. It's a birthday month.
Yeah.
So at any time.
Day this month will work for me.
Absolutely.
So,
Feel free
I'll
to
even take food.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.